In the pictures that you just saw of the original Christmas Eve box, I used the Echo Park, My Favorite Christmas. But I thought for this one, our second one in the tutorial, I'm going to use what the paper line from My Mind's Eye Yuletide that was in the Craftology box for this month. And our Craftology boxes go out every other month. So even though we do not have any of the kits left, I have Zip Zero. They come out every other month. So the next one will be coming out in January. But my other design team members, Martha, Tucker, Bobby Weaver, and Kathy Lee, they've already done projects that you can use your Craftology box for. So I thought I'd make a third because you really do have enough paper. Now the 6x6 pad, the paper pads, or collection kits only come with one sheet of each design, and there are only 6. So you'll want to get 2 of the collection kits, but they do come with the cute stickers. But we do have some of the chipboards available, so they are on the website. And to get started, you're going to want 2 sheets of cardstock that are 10 5/8 by 10 5/8, and those are going to become the lids. And then we have 2 that are 12 by 10. And I did the pre-scoring so I would not hopefully goof anybody up. On the 12-inch side, you're going to score 1/2 inch, 6 inches, 11.5. Now I turn mine and I'm going to score it 11 and 9. Basically, you're going to have 1 inch at the top and bottom, 1/2 inch on the sides, and you'll do this twice. 1/2, 6. Now, see how my paper's not quite fitting in, so you might want to turn it around to get your 1/2 inch. What happens is the cardstock, when it's trimmed, did not get trimmed to a full 12, and I should have trimmed it before I started scoring. 6, and then 1 and 1 on the 10-inch side, or 1 and 9. For the box lids, same thing. One's the bottom and one is the top. So we're going to score them both the exact same way. We're going to score 1 1/4 and 2 1/2 on all 4 sides. So I'm just going to keep turning it, and I found just giving 1 1/4 and 2 1/2 measurement simplifies it rather than telling you what's down at the other end. And that way you know it's exactly the same each time by turning your paper. 1 1/4, 2 1/2. Put that aside. One 1/4, 2 1/2. 1 1/4, 2 1/2. Or 1 1/4, 2 1/2. And 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. That is all the scoring we have right now for the construction of the box. So we'll go ahead and fold up the construction, and then I will give you measurements because our box has been lined with lightweight chipboard. And you may have seen my swaddle box. I created it in the same fashion. This way my box is perfectly square. I don't have any construction strips to worry about, and it's sturdy. But I did use the lightweight chipboard. We have some cutting to do. I'm going to use this white chalk marker to show you on the first one. You have these 4 squares. We're going to remove 3 of these squares. So this will give us a visual. Straight across and up above. You can burnish this all before, and I'm not going to, because also, oh, there's one other thing. You might find that when we get to this point, you might want to trim this outer edge. It is the same size, these two score lines. So sometimes it will hit. So if you want, you can take just a tiny tiny bit of each edge. It fits pretty well, but if it hits the box when we fold it in, you'll see more what I'm talking about, and you can trim that. So I'm going to stay to the inside of my score line so I get rid of that bump, and I'm going to cut straight up. Then I'm going to take off the two on the bottom. Now they are gone. This one, I'm doing a mitered cut. And I will do the same again on the right side. But I'm going to come in to this first flap and miter it so I get a look like this. See this outer edge? I'm going to turn this over so I can miter that edge. Or if you want to miter it at the same time you're cutting, just go ahead and miter from here to your very first score line, but then you need to cut straight. This second 1/4 inch piece needs to remain square. Let's take the bottom off. Let's miter this inside flap and the outside edge. I'll miter to the first score line on the opposite side and remove it. I'll repeat. I'm going to miter in and then straight. I'm going to cut the two off on the bottom, miter my inside part of the flap, repeat. Miter to the first score line, straight up from there. Miter the inside. Now the other side. Oh, we will fold those up in just a moment. I will repeat, but I'm going to go a little bit faster. This is where you can also stop the recording and go back to our first one so that you can see the markings. I'm needing to fix my corner. Now we'll go ahead and burnish all of our edges, and this is where you'll check. Let me show you. So that's first score line, and this top one is where you're going to fold it over and double check that it's not hitting that edge. Once we put the chipboard in, it's going to take up a little of the bulk. It's going to cause bulk. So as long as you're just right there and can bend this in, you're okay. If not, you can go ahead and trim that edge if you'd like. And we'll do more burnishing, trust me, as we are creating. We need to burnish to keep our box square. And let's repeat. I know, it's probably funny seeing me with nails. I have to tell you something. One of our design team members, Lori, of LMS Creations, she's so cute. Well, she is selling the Color Street now. And let me tell you, not only is it super easy, you just peel them off, you peel the paint on, no dry time. We're going on, let's see, and I've been doing a lot of dishes, so it's been a week. We did our Thanksgiving early. So they're doing good. There's a few chips, but let me tell you, I've tried some of the others from Ulta, and they were very hard to work with. These, I'm not kidding. You peel it off, put it on, push it with your fingernail, and you got your nails painted, and it's dry. So it's called Color Street. Really fun product, actually. Okay, for this guy, let's fold it in half. We're going to make sure it's exactly in half. I don't have time, nor do I want to go get my nails done. Takes away from being home crafting in my studio. Okay, we need those little 1/2 inches on the side. I'm just re-flattening things out. We're going to take off this little bottom 1/2 inch, but we're going to miter in and just miter across. Don't worry about your cutting lines. You do not have to be perfect. This little guy, you're going to go to the left, to the right. We're just making a nice little home for our chipboard to be covered in there. Repeat to the right, to the left. And the second piece. Now, after this, from your cutting guide, is where you're going to want to cut your lightweight chipboard. Again, the lightweight chipboard, we do sell the lightweight chipboard. I sell it at countrycraftcreations.com. It is also the same weight that will be on the back of most of your Art Authentique paper pads. Sorry, I know this is noisy. It's a wonderful weight, and it's really great for these projects. You could use a regular weight chipboard, but these measurements, I can't guarantee your outcome because it is thicker if you purchase it from Country Craft Creations, and because it's bookboard. It's more of a bookboard. It is thick. And especially with these 1/2 inches on the side, I'm not sure. I have not tested it with this project. And to be honest with you, because of the cardstock weight and the matting we do, it doesn't really need anything heavier. My box, you can tell, is really sturdy. And using art glitter glue helps because when the glue dries, it dries a little bit harder than your score tape would. Okay, that is our 4 pieces that we need for our construction. So cut your chipboard and we will continue with the rest. I have my chipboard all cut and I've already done 1 set so that you don't have to go through the whole thing twice. And we're going to start with the measurements for all of our top and bottom. So for the inside, you're going to have a piece of lightweight chipboard that is 5.5 by 5.5. And you'll see it fits just on the inside of that perimeter, and it'll be in the inside bottom. And then you'll have a 5 by 5 piece of chipboard that we're going to wrap, and that is the top here. And it allows us to put the foam dots so that we can put our ribbon there, and then it takes the stress off of our box. Makes it last longer. So along with the 5 by 5, we're going to wrap this, so you'll want a 7 by 7 piece of cardstock. And then you're going to need the strips. We need 8 of these. These are 5.5 inches by 1 1/8 wide, and we're going to put them on the inside. This will wrap over, and then you will see how nice it looks put together. Now, when we put that down, see, we'll have our tabs come in, holding it down, and then we'll have our inside piece so that it makes for a really nice looking finished box. Well, these pieces actually will go onto the coordinating side. So we do want to we're going to be putting the box together after we put this piece down, sort of, so that we can prepare the rest. So 5.5 by 5.5, and I've got my small art glitter glue. I use this one without the tip because it dries quickly, and that real fine line dries way too fast. I am using a little bit more, not much. It just looks like it on camera. Get out my spatula or scraper. Oh, there it is. And we're going to clean up any glue that comes out. Now, one thing I'd already done is I did put the chipboard here so I can show you, and so it doesn't take long, how we'll be putting that together. So we're going to go ahead and put our strips on. And I like to do it this way, and I told you wrong. You can put the box together first and then put the chipboard on top of these tabs, but I like to be able to work on it flat. Okay, let me tell you. Also, I'm putting it a little closer to the score line. You'll see why. So when it folds up, there's not a lot of space there. So I did go a little closer to my score line. whoops, than I normally would. Guess this comes out fast. Make sure you spread that glue around. I have glitter. That's the only thing with this paper. The glitter, you will have a glittery desk using my mind's eye rejoice. Rejoice. Why can't I remember the name of it? Yuletide. Sorry. Not rejoice. It's Yuletide. Also, putting this together, clothespins are a big help. There, I used way too much glue. Grab the clothespins. Now, this one I'm going to let dry. So I'm going to grab my finished one that I did just a bit ago. Now this is where we do some more burnishing. Remember I mentioned we're going to be burnishing more, and this is where you're going to be able to see if that top piece when put over is going to be too close to your fold line. But before we do, let's go ahead and let's mat. We're going to mat the inside and outside here. We're going to mat the tabs closest to the inside score line. So what I did is I already cut my pieces. And again, you want to watch your directional. I did it so my stripes would be coming downwards onto the box. And you're going to want to cut those strips at 1 1/8 by, did I do 5 3/8 or 5 1/2? I did 5 3/8 because this is 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. And you're going to want 16. So we need 8 for each lid, 4 outside, 4 inside. And then I chose, oh, actually, you could even go a little bit longer if you wanted them longer. Because, oh, it's 5 5/8. Sorry about that. So you can go, you can actually go 5 1/2. So I'm going to go 5 3/8. It's amazing how we lose things. In fact, it's a little crazy because they were just in my hand. Oh, right where I put them. So I'm going to have this red on the bottom, I mean black. And what's pretty about it is you've got some little bit of glitter. And then this little guy is going to sit on top. And it will be a coordinating color. And I'm kind of leaning to go with the stripes because you'll have this one piece left over if you cut your 12 by 12, 5 3/8, and then 5 3/8 or 5 1/2, and that will look really pretty. And then my ribbon is going to be a black and white plaid. I'm going to still use that gorgeous black and white plaid ribbon. A chevron would be pretty on here too. Then I already did pre-ink the edges with a black, so that you didn't have to sit through that. So I just lightly did the edges. And we're going to go ahead and put this down now. And You don't have to worry about poking a hole in this lid because that's where that other piece of chipboard comes into play. And that way too, there's no stress on the lid of your box. Just glitter everywhere. We're only doing this fold closest to the inside. Kind of hard to burnish it because the glitter does come off. And the link to purchase the collection kit and the chipboard and the sticker sheet. Of course, your sticker sheet will come in the collection kit. But remember, there's only one sheet of each design in your collection kit. And they are, they come with the sticker sheet. So you don't have to purchase the sticker sheet separate. In fact, you'll end up getting 2 sticker sheets. And then you'll just want the chipboard. And the decoration is mostly on the outside because the inside, you don't really want to bulk up too much. And if you can, when it comes to this glitter paper, if you're using it, you're just going to have to let it go. Because I know it's driving me nuts. I want to wipe everywhere, but it'll calm down. Once all the loose stuff falls off, you'll notice it doesn't fall off as much. But that's going to be, I think, very pretty with the red. Then the inside, so I'm going to mount the bottom of the lid. And it is the piece that is 5.5 by 5.5. So it is the same size basically as the chipboard to hide it. And it does hide it well. You won't even see it. Now, once you have all that done, we can go ahead and do our flaps, and we can also see how tight it's going to be. Now, don't really force it at that point because you don't want to tear your cardstock in any way. But see, it will be a little bit tight now, and that's good. That's going to be, that means it's going to make a nice square lid. I'm just kind of lightly. I'm going to do all 4 tabs again. The more you burnish, you're going to have a nice tight square box. So I'm going to start with this little guy. Doesn't really matter which one you start with. But what matters is when you put it up to your box, okay, you're going to be able to move that a little bit up and down, slide it until it fits. So you want it to be even, basically your score lines. And it should come up really nice and even. I'm going to just fold that flap down for a minute, add a clothespin so that I can continue now working on the opposite side. Again, just move it up or down if you need, but let's hold it for just a moment. You'll be able to feel it slide between your fingers, basically. Moving up and down. Kind of seesaw until it's in that place if you need to move it. And with art glitter glue, of course, work fast because it dries fast. Now we're just going to put our adhesive on the flap, and I'm putting it right along the top of the chipboard. Now see, this is, yeah, tuck it if it's a little long. I was able to tuck it right underneath there. Just like when you make your album covers. Or trim it off if you need. You're going to repeat the same thing with your other box lid. So I won't do that one on camera because it's the exact same thing. Oops, that one, well, it just went, okay. It knows its place. When you burnish your cardstock like that, that really helps it know where it belongs. So now we want to cover the inside. And I was afraid of that. See, what happened was I cut mine these a little short. So I'm going to cut 2 more. Or actually, I'll go ahead and just cut 4 more. And they are 1 1/8. And I'm going to, instead of 5 3/8, let's go with 5 1/2. I really want to cover the whole thing, that chipboard in there. And that's, yeah, much better. So I will probably have to cut all of them on the, just for my insides. So you do have to watch me. I'm going to have to ink these really quick. Now, when I'm using black and a white, I ink the back side because I don't want to smear the front. And you'll find this is really easy to work on because you have that chipboard on the sides. I'm just bringing the cardstock down if I see any of the chipboard showing. Now, I did take into consideration with my box being it's going to, slide on and off and on and off with the glitter here, but I did run my finger over it, and it seems to be pretty secure after the initial glitter just from manufacturing the loose stuff. So I think it'll be just fine. Isn't that pretty? So this, you're going to do the exact same thing for top and bottom. It doesn't matter. They're both the same size. They're both identical. So like I mentioned, I won't do this other one on camera. And we're going to now wrap so it's ready that 5x5 piece of chipboard. And I'm just going to use my scoreboard and my 1-inch markers of chipboard. I can't find my other one, so we're okay. Actually, this is a new bottle, so I can squeeze a little bit more out. So put it down to about 1 inch. When you wrap your chipboard and you're using art glitter glue, you need to give it a second to dry, or you'll start wrapping and then you'll notice it comes loose. Let's go ahead and fold the cardstock. I'm going to be glittery today. And just like when I wrap my mini albums, so I'm just going to go ahead and miter slightly on the corners. This is going to be the back side and no one will see it. Yeah, you still need to, because you don't want any extra bulk when you fold. So we'll just do a quick check here. Anything that's sticking out over the side of the chipboard, go ahead and trim it off. Art glitter glue along the chipboard and on the flap. And over. Now, I have got, and I said this before, I need to move it because I have my space heater down here in my office where it's chilly, and guess what? It's right by my black cardstock, so I had some little pops. And if you have an emery board and you just file it off, That's all it takes. It doesn't crack through, especially with black paper with the dyes. This is a solid core. It has been dyed all the way through, but it's still it doesn't like the heat. So I don't know if you can even see that. You might be able to. It looks like little fuzzies. And it will happen because of your space heaters. Mine happens to be too close to my paper. And of course we have the heater running in the house now and all of the other problems that dry out our papers. And it dries out our skin, so it's pretty normal it's going to dry out the papers. So if you can just keep it away from the heat source, heat vents, things like that. Okay, this little guy I'm going to go ahead and cut 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. That'll be my top. Actually, I did a double matting, so I'm going to cut this at 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. And I'm going to use the red I don't believe it's wide enough. I should have used this one on top of there. So I'll cut the red one 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. So if you reverse that and do this one at 4 7/8, because you should have this piece left if you use the green for cutting your sides, reverse the sizes. But for this one, I really like a double matted look. See, that's what's nice. You get all the loose off, and then you're done. I'll just get it over with. Okay, we do want to punch a hole in the center. So it's 5 by 5, so I'm going to go 2 1/2. And I take my second one at 2 1/2. And then right there in that center is should be my center of my board because they crossed. 2 1/2 and 2 1/2. This, if you don't have a big bite, then you can just use a tool. So if you have, I do have one, it's not here in my spinner, but you know that you can poke a hole in the center, or even just take a screw if you, have the hubby or someone in the house help. Otherwise, your big bite is such a fabulous tool. And it also has a ruler down here where my finger is, so I can also put it in I know at the 2.5 mark, yep, we're good. So I matched it up and we have our hole, just like that. Then I took my ribbon. This is that ribbon I show if you're in scrapbookers. And I purchased it at, oh, come on, Michael's. I've lost everything today. Let me get my scissors. A huge spool of it, and it's half price. So for right now, I just want enough to go through. I'll give you the measurements. This is probably overdoing it, but this spool is huge. Let me show it to you. And I had to have it because I love the buffalo plaid. It's 75 feet, which is a lot of yards. They are 50% off, so they're $7 for all of this. I bought a couple. So this is 12, about 16 inches. I'm just going to put it together. Use something to help poke this through. See, this is why I use the chipboard, because you don't want to mess up your lid. And I didn't want too big of a hole because I don't, there we go. You know, you want it to stay put. And then this is the pole. And I also put, then I tied a big bow around it. And after you decide how long, you definitely don't need all of this. And you can tie a knot. Now, it depends on your ribbon. If it's a really bulky ribbon, you have to be able to get your pop dots. So you could probably use score tape. I am going to go ahead and give this a tie. And I doubled my foam. So they're actually like double underneath there. I just felt the knot would be better. And then I did use score tape on the ends. And I didn't take the backing off. I just put it down. If you tie a knot, I wouldn't bother. This just made such a big one. And I'm going to use these foam dots. Oh, actually, I take that back. I did take this off. So I put the foam dots around the ribbon here. If you have foam tape, of course, it goes by faster. Now, everywhere that I'm putting them, so I can just show you and I'll do the rest off camera, I just went around the perimeter. And I do double these in the same manner that I did the center, so when it sits, it'll sit up. And then I took if you want a bow, smash. So I did do the big bow here. Of course, save all your pieces, but I'm really not measuring. I know I'm cutting because I have to show you. So I've got a good yard. Yes, it's too much. But you're going to want about 16 inches if you're going to tie this double bow. I'm just going to tie it. And I'm going to tie it tight. There we go. If you're using this wire, where it has the wire on the end, it's going to stay pretty good. Trying to make it smaller. Fingers in there to straighten it out. Then I tied another one. So it would be double, and it likes to slide around, yes. And then I'll cut the excess. So you can do these any way you like, of course. This one is a double, or was it? Oh, it was. Yes, it was. It's a double. Now, I'm going to show you the other way to do it. I did it this other way, actually, on there, but I know some of you, it's hard with your hands, especially if they hurt. So I took it just like I would normal and make my bows. I'm going to wrap it once. I'm not going to use a bow maker for it, but you certainly could. Twice. Here's where I cut because I know my length now. Then I'm going to go down, holding that with my thumb in between my two fingers. For those of you that do little girls' hair, you know a topsy. And this is harder to do because it's a thicker ribbon. You're going to just push it to the back, up and over. Work it up our fingers. Then you're going to push down in the center so they don't move and tighten your bow. So you can do it either way. When you do it this way, you don't have the tails because we're going to tie that around, and you do get the smaller bows on each side than if you tie it the other way. But if you know your hands hurt or you know you just can't, it still looks nice the other way. So you see both ways. Then I tied this in a knot in the back, and I cut it really short so you don't even see it. Or if you do it so that you have enough towels, you certainly could bring them around. And I think on this one, I might have enough. I always fold those down a little bit. So it's up to you. You can do it either way. Or you can keep them in the back. Just cut them really short. And then you could even put a flower back there if you were worried about the knot showing. Pull him forward, fluff him out later, and there we have the top. And that's going to sit right on top of our lid. So I'll take all those off. I glue the dots, center it, and put it down so it's straight. Now you want to decide which one's your front. And it's not really going to matter because my bow, I'd have to turn it. There we go. If I want them to go in the correct direction. Okay, we have our lid done. Now for the sides. 4 pieces of the chipboard. They are 5 3/8 by 7 7/8. So I have 2 of them done. And I'll take the second sheet, and we're going to lay down the chipboard the exact same way. And the same way that we did the lid box. Whoa. Okay, you're going to go over here. And you're going to see it fits snugly inside the center. Push down and get that glue where you want it. Okay, now on one of these, and I'm going to do it on my left hand one, I'm actually going to cut this tab off because we don't need it. But I have you do it basically so I didn't have to give you 2 sizes, and because I need you to make sure you'll see the score line. You want to cut at the score line, but leaving just a hair there. Because we're going to connect our box together just like so. Then we will be cutting a piece of cardstock that's going to go over this center piece. Need to make sure. And the nice thing about this is then this folds up. Well, we're going to actually fold this up first. I'll put this down. There we go. So you can get the visual. These are going to fold up first. And I'm going to fold the side flap in. So we can start by adding our adhesive. And wrap the chipboard. Don't wrap this one, that needs to stay. Oh, I've got to find some better diaper wipes. Oh, now after you wrap that, if you have anything sticking over the edge, go ahead and trim it because you want it to look nice. Now the same thing here. Fold this gently. See if you need to trim it. Leave this be. Full of glitter. Okay, let's do the second one. When I do the inside here in just a moment, I'm actually going to use some score tape sheets. I don't like getting glue down in here where it turns, where, you know, it's when it's a working fold. I don't want my cardstock to buckle at all, so I will be using some score tape sheets. Okay, now we have really nice finished ends to our box, or our album folio on these two ends. Now we want to attach these guys together. Now the thing with this, to make sure everything is matched up top to bottom, and don't butt them up, because you notice these aren't butted up. You've got about a 1/16 of an inch or so, so do leave a little space there. And you're not even going to see this underneath your pattern paper. Make sure everything will fold up and work. Now we're going to see you got to help it into the lid. Come on. So your top and your bottom C will be the same. Okay, inside. Now what I did on mine, I just took some pieces. This is probably wide. And then what I did is I covered the inside seams. And I know you really can't see, but it also really beefed it up. The centerpiece is 5 inches. And it really doesn't have to be that size. It can be any size, just so that it gives you a good coverage. But you want it to be 7 7/8 long. So I'm going to cut one more piece. I'm only going to do 3-inch pieces. So I'll cut my strip a little over 6. So I'm going to put it on the score tape sheets to put it down. Then we'll cover the rest of the inside with our pattern paper, but this also gives those joints some extra, makes it extra sturdy. You can use your score tape, just regular score tape, that's fine. When using regular score tape, I go across so that it doesn't, when I fold up, like get stuck in the hinge part, or how I imagine it would get stuck. It may not, but I'm gonna trim this. Down to 3-inch pieces. Oh, there was the measurements for you. Like I said, this doesn't have to be that long. It was just left over. And it's okay if it is this long. I'll trim it again on my scoreboard. I mean, my big cutter. Running out of room, it's time to clean, reorganize. I just cleaned so I could start the tutorial. And then we start working and it's like, the disaster has hit. Okay. This one's going to go down on the center. See, now it's not flopping around. Okay, now we want to gently, very gently kind of pushing to help form our fold. Now I'm being a little harder because I need to push that crease down from that 1/2 inch and break it. There we go. So it'll bend easier. Now don't force it because you don't want it to go flat this way. You want it to be able to go flat this way. Now this one won't be as hard to do because you don't have that 1/2 inch on that side. Then turn it over and kind of go in that crease again. Flex it, don't force it. Because you want it to be square. You don't want it to fall in on itself. But you want it to lay flat. Okay, I have cut my outside papers. Why did I have these left over? Oh, they're for I didn't do the other top. Never mind. Okay, so you also want to decide what is going to be the front of your box if you're using different papers. I put this opening to the back. So that's basically towards the back. This would be my front. And I chose these two designs. There's a Santa Claus, but this one, now the only thing to think about is, I gotta trim it. That will get covered because your lid comes up a quarter, 1 1/4, and I was going to go ahead and reverse it. Same problem, and the lettering's upside down. And let me see, I need to trim this a little bit, it looks like. It's 7 7/8, but it's kind of long. I cut mine 7 7/8 and by 5 3/8, but we're still coming up a little long for some reason. And this is the back. Isn't that a beautiful seam? I almost did the whole box in just the seam, but then I thought, no, I'll do the red. And they are 5 3/8. So, you know, if you want a little more of a border of the black, and I do, so just have your trimmer handy. Yeah, I think I will go a little bit less than 5 3/8. And then the red again. Now you're going to do the same on the inside. So you'll want to pick 4 that you'll want on the inside and cut them 7 7/8. Start at 5 3/8 and see how it fits. You may want to trim it. It's always better to go a little big. Sorry, my hour was up, got kicked off, had to restart the video. You'll want to also do this for the inside. And I don't know which 2 I'm going to use yet. So I think I'm going to go more with the green and probably this scene and this guy for the inside. So we're going to go ahead and adhere these to the front. Like I mentioned, decide which one you want as your front. So mine is going to be the second one in as it's laying down flat. And like I mentioned, the only thing is it will come up about to there and cut, excuse me, cut some of my bottom off, but that's okay. Glitter's killing the diaper wipe. And the glitter is just everywhere. I know I now have a love-hate relationship with glitter paper. Love to look at it, but it's everywhere. Get a wet one. There's some glitter and glue there. So I just have a wet wipe. That's wet. There, so I can clean it off. Thank goodness for shop vacuums. Now your lid's tight. Okay, it will loosen. But it tightens up because we've put chipboard in there, we've cardstocked it. See, it covers it a little bit, but it's still very pretty. Okay, now you just need to decide what you want for the inside. Whoops. And you're going to cut cut those the same size that you did your outside matting, which is going to be the 7 7/8, and I'll probably go with the full 5 3/8 on the inside. So you'll want 4 of those. Before we move into the pages, I want to show you something. The glitter that we talked about, it really it sticks out pretty good. But what I did, and I'm going to show you, you can do this with any of the glittering paper. Just make sure, here I have, this is a paper towel. It's terrible, but it's already got a bunch of glitter. I took my file and I just slightly went across here, and I noticed the excess glitter was removed, making it less bumpy. But do have something, because underneath there, you'll be amazed at how much comes off. And I'll show you on one of the papers I did it also, and then it fits so much better. So if you're using the glitter and you're finding it's a little tough, I didn't do it on the outside here, just the inside. So we have now completed our box. I did the inside of the lid also because it was just catching due to the glitter. I did the inside, if you remember when we ended, and then of course you don't know when I end and stop. I matted the inside using the black hollies and leaves, and then the back of, and I have to show you the paper. Never remember. Okay. No, it wasn't the Santa Claus. Oh goodness. Here it is. The back of the hollies. And also the back of these hollies, because I really loved it, there is glitter. And I did the same thing before I glued it down. I just got the excess off, and then it didn't get in the way of it gluing down at all. And then your black and white here is the fa la 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 la. I love it. So they're 5 3/8, and then 7 7/8, and also you may have to trim down on the sides a little bit. So because these two are identical to what we're going to build here, or these two are identical, I went ahead and did the right side. I'm going to be building it almost identical. And then I just took the chipboards, and I'll show you, I'll be decorating the other one. So these are our pages. And then it's white on the back. And again, this is the round dot. So what I did is I took my file and I went over the paper. And you can see it's still sparkly. It lost a little bit of its sparkle, but there's a lot of loose glitter. That's so much. You will be just amazed. You can see it coming off just like snow there. But it doesn't, it's just like the excess maybe that's, excuse me, because of the way it's machine put on. And now I don't have any messy glitter, so I did go down and sand my papers. And I still have my pieces to put in here, and we'll go back and do all those. But I did this different. I went ahead and cut these in half, and I reversed them. So I used the front and then the back. Then we'll have the pocket to put some tags in. And then with the waterfall, now I used art glitter glue for the ribbon. So I used art glue. I used score tape to help with that. And again, I just used white on the back side. And this is the 6x6 paper pad. So isn't that gorgeous? You're going to have a few other designs that you don't have, like the green. And that one is just gorgeous. No glitter, but you could always wink a Stella. We've got this one. Isn't that pretty? So this is all from the 6x6 paper pad. And so is the Marion Bright. That's the smaller. So I'll tie this up so it's not in the way. And what we're going to do now, we're going to build the left-hand side, which is identical to this side. So I alternated. So here I'm going to have the pages. I don't know. I might put 2 waterfalls. See, that's a nice thing. I think I am going to put my 2 waterfalls together here and have these 2 as the outside pages. But you'll see, we build them before we put them on so you can make the decision later. And to get started, we're going to do the waterfall first, the normal size waterfall. So I did cut my 6x6 papers. And that's the same we used on the front of the box, but you'll see there's no glitter. And I cut the mat pieces down to 4 7/8 wide, and then they are 5 3/8 long. And that's that gorgeous holly and berries, but without glitter, from your 6x6 pad. And I have inked them. I did use a black ink. There's the green. And isn't that pretty? That's one of those other prints on the 6x6. Then for the waterfall pages, actually it will go this way. I wanted to have that glitter. Excuse me. So it's from the 12x12. These are 12x12. You can tell by the bigger size print. And then I'll have Santa Claus on this one. So I did go ahead and I took my file and I got, see, all the loose glitter off. It really helps, but the glitter's still there. So there's tons of glitter. And it's going to go like so. But I'll show you what I'll do with these because we're going to cut them in half. So I cut these at 6 3/4 by 3 3/4 because we're going to cut them in half. And we'll do that in just a moment. But first we need to build the pages. So I have the white that's going to go on the back of my waterfalls. I thought I had these separated. I'm not sure what that one's for. So what you need first, we need a base for the waterfall, and it's 6x8. And what this does is this becomes a pocket. So you can put a full length tag or anything you want back there. If you don't want it this long, oops, when you put it down, you'll just put like a bead of glue so that you can't go all the way down. So we want 6x8. Then you want your waterfalls. Now altogether you're going to need 10. You need 5 for each side. So there's my 5. And these are 5x6. That way we can put almost, 4x6 picture just trimmed down, or you could even do a 5x7. There's a lot of excess always on our photos. And then these are the white mats that are going on the back. Again, they're 4 7/8 by 5 3/8. And matting this is so much better and faster if you do it before we put it together. So we're going to start with our scoring. And I've pre-scored, but I'll score this along with you. And we're going to score this on the 6-inch side. So 6 inches at the top at 1/2 inch. Now you're going to do that to all 10. Or if you want to just do 5 and 5. And then we're going to burnish the score lines. We're not going to miter any corners. And I just use the paper to push down against the score line. That helps keep it straight. Excuse me. And then our 6x8, which is the base for our waterfall, we need to put this in our scoreboard with the 6 inches at the top and score it 1/2. Turn it so the 8 is now across the top and score it 1/2. Back to the 6 inches at the top and score it 1/2. That creates our pocket. If you don't want this to be a pocket, then you'll just cut it 5 by 5x8 because your waterfall pieces are 5. If you don't want this to be a top loading pocket. So we're going to cut our corners. We're going to miter them. sure everything's laying nice and flat. I'm going to cut those off a little bit. Now, I'm turning this upside down, the open spots towards me. I do put my waterfalls on upside down. And I also want to check that it's going to line up side to side and that nothing's going to hang over the edge. If so, you can go ahead and fix your waterfalls now. Now, you could also mat these now if you like. I'm going to mat them after they're down before we put it in the book. And we're just going to start at the top and work our way down. We're going to squish glue out there. Now, building the waterfall, once I get my first one on, and I'm going to use my scoreboard as my helper, because I love the scoreboard in the mat. When I push it against the side, it really helps me to keep my waterfall straight. So where that one ends, that first one, and it's hard to see on the black, is where the next one is going to start. I made a mark there. And again, where that ends, your next one starts. And I do sell the mats and the scoreboards at countrycraftcreations.com. And if you notice, I use it in all my tutorials. It's a great tool. It's my measuring tool. It's my scoring tool. It's my cutting board. Mine looks pretty worn. This one's about 3 years old now, but you can see, even with my blade, you just can't cut through it. It's too thick, and it truly is self-healing. And it's super convenient. I think it's the best work surface. Okay, and number 5. Now that should go almost to the bottom. And we've got glitter still everywhere. Okay, now let's go ahead and burnish it back down the other side. And there you have your perfect waterfall. Now, you can do a magnet. If you want to do a magnet, you've got quite a few layers to go through. That's why I'm doing the ribbon. And we'll do that last. It's going to attach to our 1/2 inch score lines back here. But now I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to put the white. And it doesn't matter where you start or how you start. You can start from the top or the bottom. These are 4 7/8 by 5 3/8. I have a 1/8 inch of a 1/8 border all the way around. And if you like a 1/4 inch border, that's okay. Just cut it 4 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I really like the white. with this paper for our background of our photos. There's the glue. That's what's on the edges. And with your kit, well, it depends on what you make. If you bought this as the Craftology kit, you do have enough. Like I said, it depends. So you might want to do Martha's. Now, if you do Martha's project, you should have enough. You can probably create one of these boxes also. You definitely can make cards from your leftovers. Kathy Lee has some darling cards. You can make tags. And these make really awesome gifts. And you can also, if you're good at resizing, you can resize them. I am going to make a smaller one that is just all waterfalls. That's going to be 4 inches. So my box will be smaller. But I want just 4-inch waterfalls for my, I've got that little printer from HP. Why can't I think of it? The Sprocket. So, and it does the 2x3 photos. So you can make these in all different sizes, your boxes. You just have to know how to refigure the math. And once you do it a couple of times, you'll be like, ah, I can make this any size. Now, if you're not good at math, you're probably wanting to reach through the screen and smack me. But I definitely will be making the 4x4. And I'll get you the measurements after this week. We have our big event next Saturday here, right here at Country Craft Creations. If you're in Utah, it's really great. We have a few spaces left. We're doing a holiday Saturday all-day event. And we have very limited space. So we could only have 16, but we have a few spots open. If you're in Utah or driving distance, we're going to be making the Echo Park Merry Christmas banner and the Simple Stories cards, and we're going to have lunch and just a lot of fun. So it is on the website at Country Craft Creations under Project Kits, and it's the holiday card event. So I'm really looking forward to that. And even if you're not in Utah, we have some ladies that are actually driving from other states and flying in. Okay, we're back, and I've got these all in order. Now, I am starting at the bottom, and I'll tell you why. The black is such a hard thing to see. When I start back here, it gives me the contrast. So I need to turn my papers upside down. Oops, I know it's so pretty. But I'm going in this order. I'm going with the green, the Santas, the red, the holly. Like so. I guess I could turn that, huh? Yeah, I will. So we'll actually, now on this last one, there's that 1/2 inch strip, so I'm covering it. Yeah, that's very pretty. I like the green too. But you will hear a lot of squeaking doors. It's still work day, but I wanted to sneak this tutorial in because I know you're going to want to make this for gifts. Now, we will leave that 1/2 inch and be covering it. So that, I should have told you. So this is the other thing. You can do your paper the full length to cover that 1/2 inch strip. You could even do it to cover that strip. And I have cut my 3/8 of an inch strips and actually put this down at the bottom. And, you know, I think I'm going to. Let me show you. So the other way was done like so. That's how I did the other waterfalls. But, you know, I think I'm going to do that. Let's do something different. So we're going to cover that 1/2 inch strip at the top because there's no rule or anything that says you have to leave that. The only thing is you don't want to get the score line. but it's going to leave the same amount of space at the bottom as if you did it the other way. Or maybe yeah, you know what? I'm an idiot here. Don't cover it. And you know, I wish I could edit that out. I should have known better. You can't do that. Sorry, unless you crease it. Oh, Lordy be. Let's stop trying to be creative here. Thank goodness for art glitter glue drying clear. And we'll clean that up with a diaper wipe just a moment. Well, that was a real not thinking moment. That would have been a good idea. Now, this is Artisan cardstock, so I know I can do this. If you're not using Artisan, I don't recommend you use a diaper wipe that's wet. Just use your dry. But see, I can do that with Artisan. Because it's a linen cardstock, it did smear the ink a little bit on my little Santa, but that's okay. Now, after that dries, we'll go back to our regular scheduled program and put this down. So don't do that, guys. I should have known better. Oh, Lordy be. One of those weekends. Yeah, I'm never going to let myself live that one down. So there is a rule. Don't cover your folding mechanisms. There we go. I like my paper down. No corners popping up. Beautiful holly. No glitter. I do like it without glitter too. Okay. Oops, the green. That would be pretty too. I just thought of that. To do one waterfall all in the green papers and one all in the red papers. For something a little different. Now, when we put this down in the book, it helps to have, that's a little crooked, helps to have, if you have some clothespins or some clips. And then my top is the 6x6 red that matches the outside of my box. And just like that, you have a gorgeous waterfall. Look at that. The colors are so pretty. Now, my strips are 4 7/8 wide, and they are 3/8 of an inch to fit inside of that little spot. I did ink mine with the black ink. And you can use any of your favorite distressings. This one just happens to be a, I don't know, it's one we used for the last retreat by Nauvoo. One day I'll say it correctly. and it's more of a permanent ink because we used it for stamping. And with black, I'm finding I like more of a permanent ink because it doesn't seem to smear all over me. Or a little bit comes off, but nothing like just a distress ink. I have 3 snoring dogs down here. Too bad we can't amplify them. Sound like they're having a chorus. Okay, I see that's all fixed. You don't even know I made that boo-boo. Now let's put this down in the book. Well, I think we'll wait because then I can double check if I really do want to have this. I think I do want them together though, but I'll see how the 2 events go. Now I want to also show you something. Yours is going to be a little bit longer, and I've got the correct measurements. When I cut mine and did this the other night, I actually cut them a 1/2 inch too short, but I went with it instead of wasting the paper. So on camera, when you see mine, you're going to say, gosh, yours looks shorter than mine. It is. Because you need to cut for the base. And that was the pocket. That base becomes the pocket. You can slide extra pictures in there that way too. Our base is going to be 5 by 8.5. Now mine is measuring 8, but you want 8.5. And then you're going to score on 3 sides, starting at the 8.5 inch side at 1/2, turn it to the 5 at 1/2, and back to the 8.5 inch side at 1/2. Like I said, you'll see mine is showing up at 8. Please just ignore that. Mine is going to be a 1/2 inch shorter than yours. So you want 3 of the waterfall pages. So you're going to want 6 total. And they are 4.5 inches by 7.5. Again, mine shows up at 7. You want yours at 7.5. It'll be the full length. As you can see, those 7 really didn't hurt. You're going to score at the 4.5 inch side at 1/2, and you'll do all 3 of those. And we're going to build it just like we did the waterfall, except the opposite direction. And we'll start with folding our base. And I'm going to miter the corners. I have my pocket for the end. It's coming this way. So that's one thing you want to decide. And it doesn't really matter which way it goes. It'll just matter where you kind of place your pocket, just so you know. And if I'm going to put this on the end, I'll probably have it facing outward. Or you can have it facing inward. See, it doesn't matter. It'll just be with pulling those tags out, and you don't want it to extend here. So I think I will, just in case, I'll have it facing with my hinge to my left, because I really do think I'm going to put those guys together. Since these are a little bit shorter, I'm going to put them on the ends. This will have the large magnet. Okay, my pocket's going to go to the left, hinge to the right. Because it matters when you're building it. And I'll show you why. When you're building it, if you start here at the open end, when you open it, it just hangs over. This way, I made it so it hides kind of that pocket, and then your tags will stick out. Again, there's no right or wrong with this one. That's what's nice. So it's just kind of your preference. Whoops. But I'm going to start by adhering my page, my first one, where that hinges. So I'll turn it upside down. And we'll miter, and we won't miter any corners. And we'll just start adding our adhesive just like we did on the smaller ones. And I will match it to the back where that fold is. Whoops, it slipped. You can make your base longer. Also, this piece, you can add another inch to it if you like to have it more even. There's just so many things you can do. This is kind of like the Christmas Eve Have It Your Way box, because you can do so many different layouts. You can even just do each one as a picture frame and just have 4 pictures out to display. You can just make it as a gift box like we did on Authentique. Okay. Oops. Now, if that bothers you because you're opening it the left way, you just turn it around. And, yeah, it bothered me, so I'm turning it around. Sorry, guys. Magnet. So this is where our large magnet comes into play. I've got the basic gray large magnets that we sell at countrycraftcreations.com. We're going to remove the back of the sticky to expose the sticky. And it's going to go on this first flap. And I close it. Now we need it to be on the very back. So to keep your pages so that they'll lay flat, I just kind of hold it, slide my finger in there till it catches, and then there's adhesive on there. So it's just that quick. And you're all set. Now I've pre-cut my white for the back of the pages at 3 7/8. And you're going to cut yours at 7 3/8. Mine are 6 7/8. So you do see a difference, yes. So 3 7/8 by 7 3/8. And I just went all white on the back again because you may want to write. You may want to add just some stickers or some stamps. Because if you did purchase the Craftology box, and I do think we have some left, there is a gorgeous stamp set that goes with this collection. Oops. And the remainder that we have is also on the website. So they're not by any means a small stamp set. And at the ends here, I'll show it to you because it's just beautiful. Okay, now the way I've cut these, you can also use your 6x6 paper pads. If you've done some other of the projects with this paper from our Craftology box, and the tutorials are all free and they're on the designers' websites with Country Craft Creations. But what happens is when we send out the Craftology box, those who pay for the kit, of course, had first access to it, but we don't deny you access, of course. So your 6x6 will work, because if you cut these at 7 3/8, then what I'm going to do is cut them in half, and then I'll be alternating. And so you'll just need to figure out your measurements if you're going to do this with your 6x6. You'll still cut 3 7/8. Then you'll cut each one like at 3 3/8. So I definitely want to save the bottom. And I'm going to cut this at 3 1/2. You'll cut yours at probably 3 3/4 because yours is if you did it at 7 1/2. Then see, this is going to be the bottom. And that will be the top. So first you cut the actual full length that you want to have it for the paper. And then you just cut it in half. Or I could cut this at 4 and have a smaller top or bottom. So for instance, I can go like that. So that's the easiest way when you want to do the piece look. And then also we want to see what pieces would look best. Usually it is the back side that looks the best with each one. But that's the way I'll change it. So these I do need to ink. This is a hybrid ink. That's what it is. I'm going to turn this over because I don't want to get the white all yucky. Same with our Santa Claus. And like I said, I did already sand off some of that glitter. Okay, we'll keep that handy. I have to still do the strips. And then on the back piece right here, we'll need to cut another piece that will fit our pocket. We'll do that in just a moment. So I'll start back here in the back. Make sure you just leave that 1/8 of an inch. check it before we put it down in case I would need to trim it. That glitter picks up the lint from the diaper wipes. That's the right one. I'm going to keep it pretty even with the back page here. That's why I started in the back, so I can keep things pretty much lined up. Comes together really quick. That one's wet. Almost grabbed the other wet one. I know that's meant to go that way, but I put it upside down, and it's okay because there's no real, except for with your wording, directional when it comes to that. That is almost done. So now I need to do my strips, and I actually you need 2 on each page. And I want to go with the green. Oh, maybe I didn't. It's glittered. Yeah, I'm not going to go with the glittered on that center. So, and my 6x6 definitely will be too small. Oh, I have to do that back page. Let's do that first really quick. Forgot. I have the piece I cut. So your back piece is now going to be the 7 3/8 by 3 3/8. So I'll cut mine down to 3 3/8. And that will sit on top of that 1/2 inch score line. That's pretty. Oh, that's really pretty, isn't it? Yeah, we're not going to waste that. Change sides. That's really pretty. Now we can cut our strips. So you want to take whatever you have decided you're going to use and cut it down to 7 3/8. So we want 4 strips that are 3/8 of an inch. It's going to look kind of cool. Because they'll all be a little different. Or you can use, you can use either side, really. Yeah, I like that. I'm not going to ink these. Stick those right down. I have that finished look. Whoops. And I need to do these guys there. Then on the back here, I used the holly. That was the same over here. Okay, those 2 are done. Now, we're going to add, to tie that later. We're going to add the ribbon to this waterfall. And then we're going to, see how much shorter, then we're going to decide if I want them. I don't think there's going to be any problem with them both being here. And what has Wilbur got? Oh, Wilbur's up to his knee.
Let it go. Well, let it go, John.
He's not hurt, I promise anybody. He just didn't want to relinquish the sock. Hey, you have toys. Go get your toys. Poor little guy. I have my other dog that we finally broke of eating socks. Yes, eating, swallowing whole socks. I'm going to kind of mark. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to put these guys even. Remember, you can definitely put yours here. And then a page here. Oh, I like that too. You can put your 2 waterfalls together. You can put these 2 together. But yeah, let's put this waterfall over here. But I still want to mark so that my ribbons are kind of the same. And these are wide. This is that 2-inch ribbon. It's right there and right there. This is where I took my score tape. Mine's kind of wide. This is the 1/2 inch. I really don't use a lot of score tape on the roll anymore, so I just didn't want to open a new package. So we're just going to cut this in half. And this will give us the stay power while we glue. This is different. You may not have used the wired ribbons before. I've only used it in one other project. It was a Graphic 45, one of their Christmas a couple of years ago. and I used it on the front cover. I did order some in for the shop that is not wired, but oh, I love this. So tying it, and you can see I probably did about 24 inches on each side. Probably too much, but this roll is huge, and I just did it because I didn't know how big I need my bow, but what we're going to do is we're just going to make the bow now so we can get this on, and we will cut some off, recut more later. So it's not a lot of waste, but I'm just going to tuck things because I don't want it to get in the way. Get in the way, excuse me. Excuse me, I'm putting this down. There's some of the tools. Okay. Now on the ribbon, I'm going right on top, and see now we have our flaps. I'm going right on top of the ribbon because art glitter glue does work good on a cotton ribbon like this. And also, this is where if you don't want this to be a full pocket to go all the way down, just you can put a line of glue right there. Okay. Kind of keeping things even, which is almost to the bottom. You do have a full length pocket too. So I'm going to center this. And this we have to hold for a minute. So if you have clothespins you can grab for those corners. That's going to help. Kind of hold it down as you're untying it. Oh, I'm trying to check our minutes to make sure my video doesn't stop at any time. We're good. Okay, I'll put these back on in just a second, but I want to lift everything up and start burnishing it. Just helps to spread the glue around on those corners right there. Good. Push it down. Remember, it goes about 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to add my clothespins, and we'll do our pages. That's going to help hold those corners down. Pages in the center. And I'm going to line it about 1/8 of an inch from that side. And mine's a little bit short, so I'm centering it. Yours should be almost as long as your waterfall. And I do want to keep it about the same distance. There we are. Just make a little mark below where it needs to go. Okay. On all 3 1/2 inch flaps. Before it dries. Okay. A little bit of decorating. We have our chipboards, and you've got 2 big sheets of those. And then you have, oops, your sticker sheet. I need to find, I think there is actually, I believe 2. And on here I use the green. Over here I'm going to use the red Noel, kind of a half moon. I'm going to do a little bit of the same so it matches the red. And I do use the glue along with the sticky back so it becomes permanent. This was the number, the 25 came from here. But where? Okay, that's really weird. When I did this one, where did I take the 25 off of? Oh, right here and right here. Isn't that funny? It just didn't click. Came from here and there. Sorry, one of those other things. And I've got the number 25, so let's go ho, ho, ho. Hey, Wilbur, did you get in trouble? He got in trouble. He's sad. Okay. Now, let me grab those stamps so I can show you what they look like. My stamp set was hijacked, so I don't have it on hand to show you, but it is on the website. One of the last things I want to show you, you have extra pieces of your cardstock when you created this, or you may have tags. So that's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be doing the tags and stuff on camera, but definitely all you need to do is cut to fit. I would cut this about the same length, the same width as 4 inches. Now, one thing that would be really cute to do is have it also hang over. Once you get that marked, so I will be using this. It's not that I'm not doing it on my camera. I'm not going to be matting these because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. So that will hang over and it will tie. That was a 12-inch piece, so if you wanted to know, yours may be different just depending on the placement. So it's 12 by 4, and then you would score it 5. It will fit either straight in or be really pretty now with the glitter paper. And I'll do one for each side because I have the 2 4-inch pieces left over from our construction. So now we can tie that bow. And then you can go back on the white cardstock and add in any stickers or stamping you want to do, or just leave it plain, of course. This is just a matter of playing with this and getting the bow that you like, and also just make it a little extra big. There we go, for when you go to cut off, so you are able to retie it next time. Wired ribbon is sometimes fun because you can really manipulate it, play with it, and move it. See where you want it to go. And I will be getting some, what they call fray check. And you can just pick it up at the sewing departments and you put it at the bottom. Because there's not a lot there you can do. And then, in here, then you can cut tags to fit. So this whole thing, which is 5 by 4.5, it goes clear in. So again, you can make them bigger, have them hang over, or you can just save that for extra spots for photos that you maybe don't have a place to mat. And I guess I don't have the other 4. I'll have to do it for this one in just a minute. I don't have a 4-inch piece. So I'll do the same thing, 4 by 12, and I'm going to score it at 5 and fold it over. And that is the inside of your box. But now we want to decorate the outside. So the outside is here. And if you remember, your lid is going to hang down about 1/4 or 1.25 inches. Oops. So you just want to remember if you want it to show. So I know that this set of dots right here is where I don't want to go over or the lid will cover it. So when you are creating, if you did get the Craftology box, you might have some of these flowers. And you may have, we had some that were white and red, and then some of the kits did get some of the red. Aren't these just gorgeous? The only thing is the glitter, it has gold, but you can mix silver and gold. Just like, oh, we definitely want that. Just like the Christmas song. Which one did that tear off of? It must have been this one. Art glitter glue will take care of that. Definitely would be a really pretty place to put one. And that can be drying. As we're working. Oops. Now I'm going to take a coordinating piece of the cardstock, and I want to use, you know, I really thought I was going to use a lot of this in the beginning, ended up not, so I know I'm going to be doing some cards. So we've got black is a great background, or it's not that I don't know if I'm going to use this. I'm looking for that particular one that had all, oh, maybe I used them both. You know, the smaller flowers? I guess so. It was this one, and I used both of those. So, I think I'll go ahead and use this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to cut the center about 1 inch. I'm going to make 2 flags. I don't want them to be too big because of my little decoration there. But we've got a lot of red going, so I'm going to do some green. So now we've got our pennants. One thing you'll notice with this collection, you really didn't have any cut aparts. There was no square cut aparts, but we do have our stickers. And we have our chipboards. And you have this beautiful Santa Claus, and we have this Merry Christmas. I've punched the whole thing out, so I've got the backing on there. Put these guys together. Hopefully we can hide this under. Yes, we can. Not, we'll trim. The Santa is, you've got a couple of different Santas that are just gorgeous. Oh, and I'm thinking he definitely need to get him on there, or box lid. Box lid. That's going to go on the box lid. Because we need Santa. We'll be okay. Ooh, we almost make it, but we don't. And this is the whole thing about your cover. You just kind of have to play with it and decide until you really like it. And sometimes it's just really, really hard to do on camera. Now, Santa, he just looks like he belongs there. So I'm trying to stay down below. We definitely, okay. It looks, I like it. So what I'm going to do is start with these two guys. I'm really wanting to keep that same placement. And I do want these loose. Now this, I just took the whole sticky off because I'm going to do the, I'm just going to pop it out. Let's use white. Again, I need to get that in there. And, oh, you know, we've got the problem with the bottom. I completely forgot to mention that one to you also. So the bottom is going to come about to there. So it's either the Santa or the floral. I think I'm going to go with the floral. We'll save our Santas for another project. Or here, we'll probably be able to use them on top. These Prima flowers are just gorgeous. So the remainder of these flowers are on the website, and they are available along with the paper and the paper pads. So you may want to buy more. Okay. Now when you look inside there, how cute is that? I just love the looks, how it looks. Really fits nice without that glitter. Okay, now we do have room. Actually, if we wanted to add, we've got some more really pretty chipboards here. So I'm going to bring out this holly and see. Kind of layer that inside of there. So I've got the bottom on. Let's layer it over on our flag just a hair. Yes. really pretty accents here that we have. Now let's put the lid on with our other floral. I really like that. And that looks like my mother. So our Merry Christmas. I do have the word Merry there too. Sometimes I don't like to duplicate them, but I really do. I like that on the top here. But we could also bring in the bird. We need to bring in the bird. So with this little guy, I'm going to do him up on pop dots. So I do want to take off, hopefully I can get the whole sticky back, because I don't want any sticky that's just hanging off the front. Sometimes you can get them, sometimes you can't. And when you don't want to, they always come off. Of course. This one's going to be stubborn. Or you can use your, I don't have baby powder. Some people do too. There we go. I just grab that and remove it. Cut that in half. And let's get one over here on the wing for stability. Let's see how that will play nice. Especially with the glitter. I'm going to add the glue. And now we can definitely see where we can add a few more embellishments. You could even put the floral down here on the base if you wanted to. I did go around my lid on the other box, and then I added some more of my little embellishments. But you know, I don't think I'm going to on this one because the glitter is very pretty and I really like that. Then we've got a floral up here on top. So if we wanted to use two, which kind of covers that back end, bring it under the bow. Nope. Definitely going to put it back here. Kind of tuck them under. Now, if you're in a hurry, just use your hot glue gun. Okay, there we have our Christmas Eve boxes. See, you got kind of two totally different looks here. Definitely fun, a little more, fancy, refined. This one definitely looks like my mother in her house. Fun place to store those pictures. And that is our tutorial. It was a lot of fun to make. I don't know about you, but I can't wait to make more. And of course, as you're playing with this, you just might find, you're going to find some other spots to put things. And I just did. So definitely, even this is just gorgeous to kind of stick in there. You've got lots of different choices. Whoops. These are tags, and you can actually put a string and have it hanging down. Add a lot of the different accents here and there if you want, stickers. And you can tell I've got to add something on top. So Christmas tree, let's do it. Gonna pop this one up on the dot. it needs it. Okay, I hope you guys have a lot of fun creating. Also, you could definitely add your Santa Claus. Oh, you definitely could. I hope you guys enjoy creating your box, and that you will definitely show us your finished creations over on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. And we'd love to see what you make with our tutorials. And then be sure to check out Martha Tucker. She did another project with this Craftology box paper. And we also have Kathy Lee. She also created some beautiful, absolutely beautiful cards using this creation. You can tell I'm going to go crazy, can't you? And then we also have Bobby Weaver. Bobby also created some folios. A couple of different ones, I believe, using this month's Craftology box. So there's my 3 sides, and I'll leave the back just the sparkly. And so you've got lots of ideas, lots of projects. Now our next Craftology box, there's a new subscription. We're changing the way we're doing it. It's going up on the website here soon, and it comes out every other month. So the next one will come out in January. We give you lots and lots of product to make lots of beautiful things with, and the tutorials are free. And then also it ships every other month. That gives you a break, and it also gives you time to do the projects instead of stacking boxes up in your craft closet. Like, I've been there, I know. So thanks for joining me, everybody, and Merry Christmas if I don't see you in the next tutorial before then. Have a great day.